that I am late today. Unfortunately, I actually had, well, I'll tell you what happened. My poor little dog Bruno escaped. That's right, he escaped. There were people at my house and he escaped. So my poor little dog escaped and ran away, and thank goodness I found him. So enough of that. So that's why I'm late, so I apologize. It won't happen again. Promise you Bruno's okay. And now we're getting straight away into cooking. And I'm really excited because today we're going to be making some cheese rolls with caramelized bacon onions. And so, you know, bacon is such a very common ingredient in so much cooking throughout the world. Why? Oftentimes, really because it hits all those notes. It's savory. Bacon is savory, but there's a lot of fat in there. But then there's the sweetness. Oftentimes, bacon's cured and has like maple syrup in there or some type of sugar and seasoning. And then, of course, there's salt. Bacon is salty. So we're getting sweet, salt, and sugar. It's kind of like the, for those of you who know a lot of it, it's like the trifecta, like the Triple Crown, you know, the Triple Crown horse race is coming up. So anyway, there you go. So I'm going to show you how to caramelize these onions and make them really bacony, because caramelized onions do take a long time. So I'm going to start off with those, and you can caramelize any type of onion you like. And for those of you who are not, I do have some students in my level 1 class who are not cutting extraordinaires. I do have people do in our courses, they have to do knife cuts. And I used to hate cutting onions, but actually it's something that I love now. It's one of my favorite things to cut. So you always want to cut the onions straight away down the center, this way, you know, right like that. And then I'm only going to be, let's see, cut off the one end that was not in the ground. That's right, these do grow on the ground. And then in the meantime, I'm actually going to be heating up my skillet, and I'm going to be pouring in just a little. I have a little bit of olive oil and some vegan butter here. And that's actually, what I'm doing there is I'm actually doing some flavor layering. And so the two different things, obviously, if you wanted to, you could use olive oil only, or you could use vegan butter only, but I like the two things to combine because it actually gives a little bit more of a deep flavor profile. So then you just want to take off the skin here, and you're just going to be, you don't have to go crazy dicing these. You just want to make them kind of like into like nice half moons, if you will. I don't know if it's the moon. Yeah, tell me, does anybody know? Anybody who's on? Because people are watching. Is it a full moon now? Is it half moon, low moon? I don't know. So you want to make these kind of some like half moon shapes. Make them nice and thin. And so we're going to be cooking these at the beginning to make them translucent or clear. You can use, again, you can use any type of onion you like, but I'm just using the white onions today. It actually picks up the caramelization color of my bacon seasoning even better, okay? Boom. Cut off here. Make sure you have a nice sharp knife. Also have students who ask me about a chef's knife. You know, you don't need to have an entire set of knives when you're cooking. You really need to have 2 knives, I call it. You need to have a paring knife, a little short knife, and then one of these nice chef's knives. You know, get one that you like. This one's kind of like a medium blade. I personally like one that's even, we have these here at school. They're a little lighter. I personally like one that has actually a heavier handle, but I'll do whatever I need to. But you want to get one that feels good in your hand. It's almost like test driving a car. If you can go to a shop, and if you go to a really nice kitchen shop, they might let you actually hold the knife in your hand. But otherwise, you just have to figure out whether or not buy it, take it home, cook with it for a while. If you don't like it, maybe you can take it back. Find one that feels good in your hand. It's going to be there for a long time. There are some round knives, round handles, some are more square. And then also the blade. You can see how this blade kind of is angled. Some of them are flat. So actually the one I use at home is actually flat. So it's totally your call. See what you like. So I'm just heating up this oil and my butter here. And then I'm going to pop in my onions until they become, again, translucent, which that means that's a fancy term for clear. And that just takes about maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes. While I'm heating them, now I'm going to kick it up a notch. I want to talk to you a little bit about the seasoning that we're going to be putting on our onions to make them like bacon. Okay, so I do have here, we're going to be adding, to caramelize these, caramelized onions, typically all you're going to be doing to make traditional caramelized onions, you'll be adding just salt, got a little bit of my seasoning in there, salt and a little bit of sugar. That's it to make traditional caramelized onions. So that's all you do. Caramelized onions are just about length of time and patience. You cannot do these in a wok or quickly. It takes a long time, about 30 to 45 minutes. So once again, you want to cook these. And then what the secret ingredient here I'm adding is actually some pork seasoning. Now we teach you how to make this pork seasoning here in our level 1 or vegan cuisine school, either online or in person. But I will tell you, you can, 2 of the main ingredients in this are smoked paprika and garlic. So these, and you can tell, of course, there's the hint. Look at the color of the smoked paprika. You can see it's right in here. Now think of as I mentioned at the top of the listen to me, at the top of this video, remember I talked to you about bacon, and bacon has those sweet qualities in it, the sweet maple syrup. So you could actually put some maple syrup in here, but actually in this bacon seasoning, we actually have some brown sugar. There is some salt in there. Again, the paprika, the garlic powder. So these are typically the flavors that are going to go in here. So after I get these translucent, and again, clear, then I'll be adding my bacon seasoning. And again, I have these on about medium right now. So I just want to get these all nice and coated, get them all wonderful and delicious. So that is that. The next thing I'm going to be, so we're almost ready to pull these, turn this down, but not quite. Turn it down just a teeny bit there. So in this dish, we're going to be we want to recreate flavors. Now, of course, we're not using bacon, but we're going to be putting again, the bacon flavors here on the onions. But then we're going to be using something to go into our cheese rolls that also have a very meaty flavor profile, and that's portobello mushrooms. Now, mushrooms have a wide spectrum of terms of flavor. If you can only get button mushrooms, that's fine. You can absolutely use them. It's just that when a lot of chefs around the world, especially ones in high-end restaurants, even at the Culinary Institute of America, people swap out. Oftentimes, they want to use a lot less meat in their food, and they'll actually pull out ground meat and replace it with mushrooms. And some mushrooms have a bigger, bolder, meatier flavor profile, and that's why I've chosen to use these portobello mushrooms. So I'm actually going to be cooking these at the same time. Lots of beeping here. So I have just a little bit of oil. I'm going to use to cook these mushrooms, not too much. Remember, chefs, when you are making or cooking mushrooms or cleaning them, you do not want to use water with them. I know a lot of people, especially like if you're getting the mushrooms and there is a little bit of debris or dirt on them, just take a paper towel or a tea towel and just wipe them off. But you really don't want to expose them to water. It's actually the reason you don't want to do that is that it will actually wick away the flavor, and it's going to make your mushrooms really soggy. So we want them to absorb the good flavors and not water. So I'm going to heat this up, plop in my mushrooms, cook those away. You can chop these smaller, but I kind of like to leave them bigger and a little bit more chunky. Now, if you look over here, I'm happy with my onions. They're getting nice and translucent, as I was mentioning. And now I'm going to be popping in my sugar and my bacon seasoning in here. So you can see these are getting all nice and coated. Now you have to reduce this to really low. And then now it's just about patience. So I'm not going to do these the entire time. I'm not going to keep you on the video the whole time. But you can see this is the color we're going for. And then I'm actually going to show you here, this is the finished product. So these onions will turn into this. So can you see how beautiful, stringy and caramelized and fantastic those are. So they really have absorbed those fantastic flavors. It takes again about 30 to 40 minutes, but in the interest of time, I've done a batch for you ahead of time. So I'm going to take these off. Now here, actually switch these over here. I want to get some more surface area. I'm going to pop my mushrooms actually in my pan where I had my onions. And the reason I'm doing that is just to get some of those, I'm kind of deglazing it. And I want to get some of those fantastic flavors in there. You can actually add a little bit more of the bacon seasoning to the mushrooms if you like. It's totally your choice. Not required, but optional. Now we're going to be doing some more cutting here. And we have one eggplant. You know, for those of you who have been watching, I've been really obsessed with eggplants since I've been here in Greece. So melitsana, that's right how you say eggplant in Greek. So now all you want to do is you want to trim off your ends, but leave the skin on. And now I'm going to heat up my oil here. You want to be liberal with the oil for the eggplant. And we're going to be pan frying the eggplant here. Now I'm going to cut this. Again, you do want to leave the skin on, but you need to make sure that you cut this really, really thin, because we're going to be rolling this eggplant up in our cheese rolls. So we want to make it super thin. We're going to be pan frying it first, so we can then later roll it up. Okay. I do have an extra large eggplant, so I need a little more. It's always good to have a little extra. There's a term they call, actually, in the world of products, they call it shrinkage. So you always want to have a little bit of extra. The last thing you want to do is run out of something when you're cooking. You can see here our mushrooms are getting really, really fabulous. I want to add just a little bit of salt here onto my eggplant. And the eggplant does turn. When I say turn, it's going to oxidize and get really, we do want to make this brown. We do want to brown this on both sides. There we go. That's the color I'm looking for. And everything's going to get baked. If you like, I've also tried, you can if you like, if you really want to kick up that bacon flavor, you can even put some more of that bacon seasoning onto your eggplant. You do want to liberally put some salt on your eggplant, but if you prefer to amp it up with the bacon flavor, you can use your bacon flavoring in lieu of salt just to layer those flavors. So now I'm happy with the complete cooking of my mushrooms. I'm going to pull those off to just allow those to cool. I can continue to baby my eggplants here. So now the last but not, well, two more ingredients we have that are going to be stuffed into our cheese rolls. Of course, one being cheese, but then we also have sun-dried tomatoes. Now, chefs, look, I have chosen these things because, once again, we're trying to recreate bacon. And the bacon, like I mentioned, the mushrooms have such a meaty flavor profile, so that's why I didn't want to choose those. But you can literally use any vegetable you have in your pantry, whatever you have. I mean, my gosh, you could use squash, sweet potatoes. I mean, anything you have, my gosh, spinach, anything you want. You just want to cook it before you're putting it into your roll. Now, these sun-dried tomatoes, as I put in the recipe, sometimes you can get them that are packed in oil, but these are actually dry. So these actually are just loose. We buy them, but you do want to check them. When I say check them for saltiness. Sometimes they just are dehydrated and they're just sun-dried with nothing on them. Other times they're like these, that they do have a ton of salt on them. So it's your choice how you which ones you want to use. Now, I do know that when you get them in the oil, they do, of course, they have more fat on them. So just be aware, you do want to drain them. But here, I just have some warm or hot water. You just do want to hydrate these. It makes it a little bit easier for you. So you're just going to put them there into your water, let them soak for a little bit. These actually are quite soft, so even if you didn't do that, it's totally fine. But like I mentioned, so you could, I found these here on the island. This is actually like a, believe it or not, this is a sun-dried tomato puree or pate. So this is actually already, look at those, they're nice. This has already been turned into a pate, so it's like a spread for you. So this will be even easier to use, but I realize it's more difficult to find this. Yeah. So we're using, once again, we have here in no particular order, we have our caramelized bacon onions, we have our eggplant, we have our sun-dried tomatoes, I have my mushrooms here, the very, very meaty portobellos. Okay, so those are all here. I have all my assembly lined up. And then last but not least, in the cheese rolls, we're going to have some vegan cheese. That's right. So you can use whatever you like. You can make your own. Come to one of my cheese classes. You can learn how to make vegan cheese, or you can buy it, your choice. This was actually purchased, but you can absolutely make your own. It's your call, whatever you like to do. So I'm going to turn this off because these are looking nice and done here. And we're going to assemble these and get you guys on your merry way. That's right. Now, last but not least, what is the thing that's going to translate all these into goodness? So I'm just going to roll these up. And this is here's my cheese over here. Get that there. We're going to put the cheese on soon. But we have, right here we have short crust pastry. That's right. So if you'd like to learn how to make this from scratch, you can come to our baking course. Jessica teaches this. Once again, this is short crust pastry. This is actually, it comes in sheets, and you just want to lay this on your bench. You always want to work with cold pastry. And the reason that is, it's going to create a really nice, fluffy, crispy pastry. Because if you have it be too soft, it's just going to get all soggy and all of your bits. This actually was folded, so that's why I'm just massaging back the seam here. Sometimes you find it when it's rolled. This actually was folded in bits. Also, our fridge is just a little bit on the chilly side. Okay, so now we're going to start assembling. So now, you do want to lay your eggplant here. Whoa. Gently here into your, put your eggplant down, and then your mushrooms. So it's like you're making a pizza. Whatever toppings you like, you can put in there. It's your call. I'm going to put, and you could do it in any way you like. I'm going to put the cheese on now, so I can show, you can see the caramelized onions. Fantastic those are. Whoa. It's nice and messy, but I promise you it's delicious. This is fantastic as a snack. If you ever have friends that have the munchies, after maybe they've been out celebrating a birthday, I don't know, a christening, or just getting out of lockdown, I don't know what it could be, celebrating. Now, I'm actually going to These tomatoes are just a little bit on the large size, so I do want to chop these down a little bit. You can make these in strips. You could leave them whole. Depends how much of a tomato person you are. Your call. See, these are in nice strips here. Fabulous. All right. And now, it is better to have this, if you do have a fan bake available, a fan setting in your oven, that will be more advantageous. If you don't fret, but it would be better. But I'm going to show you, we want to roll this up. You can roll it toward you or you can roll it away from you. You can see actually my stuff is already a little warm, so it's a little bit dangerous here. And I'm just going to create like a nice little packet. And wonderful. Now don't worry about the ends, on the ends. All I'm going to do is turn this over. In the recipe I had it listed and I forgot to do it. This is easier if you do it on a piece of baking paper. Voila. Or you could even use the sheet that you had that came in. But whatever you're going to do, it's much easier if you have it all ready to go. Boop. Boop. All right. All right, so I'm just going to show you here. So we're going to roll this, turn this over here. And what we're going to do is we are going to keep this, we're going to make this a little bit colder because we're going to put this in the refrigerator and keep, because we want to have, as I mentioned, we want to always have our dough be chilled. And I did a poor job of keeping this chilled because I put in some nice warm eggplant. So I'm really kind of hacking this up. But there you go. You can see that we chefs here are human as well. All right. So now, as I've gotten this all rolled around, all right, there we go. Gotten it back in here, just kind of smoothing this out. And I'm creating almost like a sausage in here. I'm going to pop this back into the refrigerator or into the freezer is actually going to make it even quicker and easier for me. I'll come back and talk to you now. So in the interest of time, like I mentioned, you want to create your, call it like your package, your pinwheel package. So once again, we have in there the eggplant, the caramelized bacon, onions, cheese, the sun-dried tomatoes, and the mushrooms. And then I want to chill that pastry down and put it in a nice hot oven, again, preferably with a fan setting. But when I take it out, what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to take it out here in a minute, but it's not quite cool. But in a perfect world, you would chill it. I would chill it for at least 15, or at least 15 minutes, if not a half an hour, and make it all nice and. You can get a nice, perfect edge cut. But I'm not going to keep you on here for a half an hour. But that's actually going to be perfect. I'm going to show you. You take it out of the fridge and put it onto a baking sheet. So I'm going to get that all ready for you. And look, if you do have a baking sheet that's aerated. We do have various ones, but you can have some that, this is just a silicone sheet that's reusable, but you don't have to use that. You can if you want to. You can also use just traditional baking paper. So you want to get that ready. Okie dokie. Put that in there. All right, and I'm going to be right back with my roll to cut it. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like after it's been baked. Now, like I mentioned, pretend that this has been cooled for a half an hour. And I'm going to discard these ends. You can absolutely use these, but I just want to show you. You don't have to be as ginger as I am because I'm pushing the envelope in terms of time here. But then you just want to take these, oop, one of my mushrooms got caught, or my eggplant. You just want to take these little pinwheels and then you turn them on their side. There you go, like so. And now you have all those delicious bits in there. And you can make them as thick or as thin as you like. It's your call. Ooh, my cheese is falling out. Yes. Yes, cheese falling everywhere. Yes. That's fun. Promise you, the mess is worth it. The deliciousness. Just turn those on their sides. Keep going. Keep turning. Again, remember, work with your cold pastry. Bear in mind, these are going to spread a little bit. Just keep going. You can make these as thick or as thin as you like, depending upon whether or not you want to make them for a party, or if you want to have them be more of like an, you can make them an appetizer size, or you can make them more of a hearty meal size. So you can play around with the sizes, with your, like again, with your fillings. Totally up to you. Customizable. This is my Mediterranean inspiration, but you can absolutely do them from various different places on the planet. You could do a Thai one. You could do a, my gosh, it would be awesome to do like a Mexican one. That would be really fantastic. I'm going to stick that one in there. All right, and then these get baked at 200 for about 15 to 20 minutes, depending upon your oven. And now I'm going to show you what they come out and what they look like. Whee! Look at these. Now this is actually a different type of tray like that I was telling to you earlier. This mat has some airflow in it, and what's nice about that is that it does have, it will help crisp up your pastry. And look at these little babies. And they pop straight into your mouth. So, whenever you're having, like I mentioned, when you're having a party, when you have some friends who say, oh, you know, I don't like vegan food because I miss my bacon so much. Now you could say, how about having some bacon cheese rolls? That's right. You can customize them and have them in any way, shape, or form you like. Again, you can make little minis, make big ones, Have it be on your next party. Kids would love them. They're nice and tactile. And what I like about them is vegan. Thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with me as I was a little off today because I'm still a little rattled. I'm still thinking that, oh my gosh, my Bruno Mars could have gotten run over by a car. But I love having all of you on here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Jessica's going to be making her incredible French walnut tart. You don't want to miss it. It is very decadent. It is so delicious and rich. And make sure you come back next Tuesday at 1 p.m. I promise I won't be late next week. And I'll see you here at Savory Tuesday here at Vegan Gastronomy. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Bye-bye.